Memphis and ECU face off in what is going to be a great American Conference battle. These two teams are still in the running for the American Conference Championship, and Memphis is kind of on the outside looking in. They do need some help, but they are still very much in it. ECU is tied for first, and they are looking to get into that championship game. And with how they're playing right now, this is a team that could be potentially dangerous in the remaining games left in this season. Now, Memphis is a team that still very much has what it takes to compete for a conference championship, but again, they need some help. There's also some concerns about their starting quarterback, and we'll dive into that here in just a second. But Memphis is coming off that tough loss to Tulane, a game in which they should have, I think, looked a lot better, but Brendan Lewis's nagging injury was really a factor. You saw him competing, you saw him make plays, but the problem was that the injury was clearly affecting him. It was clearly limiting his ability to make the types of plays that he normally makes and make them at 100%. So, what is his status going into this game? That is the biggest question. Now, that being said, the skill position talent is still fine around whoever's going to be the quarterback. Arrington met and took over for Brendan Lewis, but I think that there's a significant drop off between what we saw from Lewis and what we saw from anybody that's taken over for Lewis so far this year. Now, that being said, how do you adjust your game plan if Lewis is not 100%? The rushing attack is probably going to have to play more of a factor. So how do you get creative? Sutton Smith has been explosive at times, and you also have other guys that have stepped up as well. Greg Duraze has been an explosive player as well. How do you switch things up, especially against an ECU defense, the front group that can be disruptive? That defensive line isn't the biggest or the most talented, but they are a tenacious group. They are going to get after an opposing offense. And if I'm Memphis, I'm trying to find ways to stretch them east-west to open things up north and south, because ECU is going to test this offense. They are going to prove or make Memphis prove that they can either run the football more efficiently, or actually what they're really going to challenge to do is can you actually throw against some of the looks we'll give? Do they go cover one? Do they go cover zero? And basically say, hey, if Brandon Lewis isn't a factor, we're going to send more bodies into the box because we don't trust that he's going to be able to push off and make the throws that he needs to make. That being said, if he's able to go, we've seen this group, the group of wide receivers, step up in a big way. Cortez Bram has been one of the best additions via the transfer portal that we've seen by any team this year. And ECU has to find a way to slow him down. And ECU's secondary is in for a long night if that is not the case. You also have Jamari Hawkins, who has, I think, stepped up as of lately and been a solid number 2 option for this Memphis passing attack. But again, it really comes down to if Memphis can have Brendan Lewis at full strength or close to it. If he is, they're good. If not, it could be a long day. Now, this defense for Memphis is going against an ECU offense that has a ton of momentum right now. They're playing with a ton of confidence, and they are playing really well, really efficient. So you need this group to be disruptive. And you've seen them do that this year. This is a Memphis team that has kind of a feast or famine type of approach to playing defense at times. And when they're playing well, they're very disruptive. They cause a lot of havoc for the teams that they're facing. The problem is that they're going against an ECU offense that, again, is playing with a lot more confidence than we saw maybe earlier in the year. And Caden Hauser, at times, is dialed in. He is making some big-time throws, and his receivers are coming up big for him throughout the entire year. Anthony Smith and Yannick Smith have been consistent. They have been very good for Caden Hauser. The rushing attack has had a good amount of depth. You've seen various guys step up throughout the entire year. It's almost in a way been a rotation, but you've had 4 guys play a huge role in various parts of multiple games. It hasn't just been one guy for one game. It's been multiple guys in multiple games. London Montgomery leads the team right now. Marlon Gunn Jr. has been solid. Tinja Engelman has stepped up in a way in which we didn't expect him to be as much of a factor as he's been so far. Parker Jenkins is the lowest rushing total of lowest rushing total of these four, but he has been solid for them as well. So you have a group of four guys that you can just rotate bodies in. And in the fourth quarter, that's really going to come in handy. That's really going to help out this ECU team, especially if they are looking to put away Memphis. And if they have a lead, that's what they're going to turn to. They're going to turn to this rushing attack to seal the game and give them a win. We've seen them do that this year. And again, when you look at what they've done so far this year, you've seen a team that has won various different ways. They've been competitive in certain games, and they're playing as of recently. They're 3 consecutive games scoring 40 plus points. So the offense clearly is firing on all cylinders. That being said, they did it against Tulsa, Temple, and Charlotte. Temple a little bit more respectable than Tulsa or Charlotte, but still, this is a big opportunity for them because after this, they have UTSA and FAU. So they have plenty of work cut out for them if they're going to make a run at the American Conference title. If you're going to make that championship game, offense has to continue doing what it's doing. Defense has to continue to be opportunistic, to be disruptive. And you're going to do that against 2 good offenses coming in here. Well, 3 good offenses. FAU's offense is a good offense that you're going to have to stop as well. So this defense is facing a ton of pressure to slow them down. And the offense just has to continue doing what it's doing and lean in to the momentum they've built so far. The defense is where you maybe have some concerns for ECU, but not necessarily because they just get run over. There's really only one game that they got dominated, and that was the BYU game. And BYU is competing for a college football playoff appearance. So if you're ECU, you're looking at this and you're thinking, we should be okay. We should be able to handle this Memphis offense. Now, I'd make an argument that this Memphis offense is the most explosive that they've seen this year. So that is a different test. You can make an argument for NC State. I wouldn't put BYU up there, even though BYU dominated them. I think BYU is just the bigger and more talented team. I think Memphis has the ability to blow this one out of the water. And I think Memphis' offense is more explosive when they're playing well. Again, what Brendan Lewis does is going to be a big question. But this is where ECU can find an advantage if their defense can step up and deliver when they need them to the most. Now, in terms of who's winning this game, this is going to be really fun to watch because you have Memphis coming off of a tough loss to Tulane. You have a Memphis team that is still, again, on the outside looking in, and they're more than happy to just ruin it for someone else. Even if they don't make it to the conference championship, they're okay ruining it for ECU. And they have the advantage if Lewis is healthy. If Lewis is healthy or even close to it, then I give the advantage to Memphis. If he's not, that's where ECU is going to have the advantage here. And they're playing at home. That stadium can get really loud and have an impact on the game. And if Lewis is not able to go, you're throwing at a quarterback that's pretty inexperienced and doesn't have the same talent level as Brendan Lewis. So that's going to give ECU the advantage. Given what I've seen from Lewis, especially in the last couple of weeks, I don't think that he's going to be back to 100%. I'm going to go with ECU here, but with how this conference has gone, it really could be anybody's game.